Oh, it's y'all. Well, welcome back to the Hoopty Barn. Yeah. Who's ready to go see what kind of mischief we can get into today? Good morning, everybody. It is old Big Mike. We are back out here in the Hoopty Barn with the Blue Goose, the old 31 Plymouth, and the donor motor. Yes, sir. She tucked back in there like a baby in her mama's arms. And now we got some doing to do before we set this thing. I've been doing some figuring. I know that's kind of a stretch for old Big Mike, but anyhow, we got a few things to do. One, before we get in here too much farther, we're going to get in here. We're going to extract that bolt out of that head. We want to know how we're going to do that? With patience. Anyway, we're going to do that. And I'm going to go ahead and cut these tabs off of here, since those are going to be of no avail to me. Get those off both sides. And I got this crazy idea on these motor mounts. See, I got a couple spare truck mounts here because I'm a collector. We'll just put it that way. Anywho, so I'm thinking if I put this mount upside down like and so, and we connect this part to this part, and then we put it back in yonder in the frame, in that C channel, you know, and kind of wedge it. And then we put a bolt right through there, and we can adjust it, you know what I mean? Up, down, whatever. Once we get it to right where we want it, we'll put the old to it. And it should be mounted in there. And then, once we get them motor mounts welded onto the frame, we can pick this dude up, take it out, put it back in, and we ain't got to keep resetting it. So, first things first, I reckon I'm going to have to take my crane here, and the way I've got this connected, see, everything's all kind of cockeyed and all that, and I'm going to reroute this chain to right here at the front of the engine so I can get this up. I got to scoot this whole thing over so I can get in here with my drill, because these benders are in the way. But I got to get this thing up and over so that I can get that bolt taken out. So I guess I'm going to block up this engine and such, redo my chain, get this thing reset, and then I'll probably go ahead and just cut them tabs off before I get back. And then we'll get to extracting that bolt. So don't go away. Be right back. Fine, it's all wrong. Everything's wrong. Her fault.
He's lying.
Probably so. Well, so changing directions again. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and yank this motor back out of here, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out this next little section. I ain't going to cut out the whole thing. You'll see why. You'll see why I'm not going to cut out the whole thing. But I can't cut out the whole thing yet. But I am going to go ahead and cut out this triangle here. And I might take a little bit here, but I'm not sure yet. But I figure also that'll be easier to cut all this junk out and get that bolt out of the head there. So don't give up. I'm on it. So those of you who've been with me for a minute, like was with me during the Blockbuster build, you may or may not remember I had that motor and transmission in and out of there probably at least half a dozen times before I got it where I wanted it, and you know, all that. Anyway, that being said, there she is, on the floor-ish. I mean, she ain't just sitting on the floor, but anyway. So we went in here. I went ahead and cut those top tabs back quite a bit more. And I cut the bottom tabs off, and I took my grinder and ground that razor's edge finish off of those suckers so I wouldn't slice myself to pieces. And if I got any hoses or whatever, they're not going to hit that and slice my fuel line or whatever. And I decided this is actually going to be kind of beneficial because it's got like a little pocket right there where I can bring my brake line and go right through there, keep it up in there out of the way, and you know, all that fun stuff. So I can route my brake line through there and back out there. And I went ahead and I cut this little piece out, that little triangle that was there, and I've decided I'm going to go ahead and get all this junk out of here. And the easiest way I can see to do that, because all the stuff in there is that bolt over there and that bolt in the corner. There's just like a couple of bolts to take this thing apart. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and pull that dash out of there. It's all gonna have to come out anyway, so I might as well just go ahead and get that out of there and get to where I don't have to mess with all that junk and I can see what I'm doing. So, which I should have done in the first place, but because I don't know what I'm doing, I always end up, you know, doing it again. So anyway, all right, let me get that done. Okay, so I'm getting ready to extract this little stud on the end here. We need to get that taken care of. It's right there in the water jacket. You can see the freeze plug right there. And I was getting ready to take it out, and I thought, you know what, I should probably show people how I do this. Just, you know, maybe it'll help somebody out. I don't know if I do it any different than anyone else, but anyway. So I took one of my old manifolds, I'm hanging on the stud over here, and just put one bolt in it, and go ahead and snug this dude down. Why in the world would I do that? Well, because when these things break off, you know, it doesn't just break flat across there necessarily. It'll break, you know, have a little ridge in there. So I use this to line up my drill bit so I get a good straight drill in there. And this is bigger than the stud that's going in it, but it's just the size of the exhaust manifold hole so that I can keep it straight. And what's real important is get a really good quality bit. That's not where you want to have a Harbor Freight junk bit. Anyway, now we can take this off of here. Just need that to line that up and get any ridge or whatever off of there. And well, if I can get this silly thing off. Alright, so now we'll get that out of the way. Now we know we've got that sucker ready to go. And get my MAP gas because it burns pretty hot. Heat this dude up just a little bit. It makes it a little bit easier. You ain't got to do it for a whole long time, but just seems to make everything want to flow better. Okay, I get my little extractor. I got these little two-sided screw extractors. It's got a drill bit on that side and easy out on that side. I'll go ahead and put this in here with the screw side out. Line that dude up in there. Well, apparently this one's not going to be hard enough. So, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and get us a good quality small drill bit. About the same size. A little bit more. Don't want to go too deep. Only deep as the extractor will go. Alright, now let's try this. Put our extractor in there. Just bump it. Just bump it. Okay. She don't want to come out yet, so I'm going to heat her up a little bit, and I'll be back in just a minute. So one thing you'll find out about old Big Mike is that I'm going to be straight with you. Last time I did this, it worked just fine. This time I did this, it worked just not fine. So why not? Well, I was drilling it out and I put my extractor in there, and the extractor actually broke off inside the bolt. I've been digging at that thing trying to make powder out of it or whatever. You can't hardly get that extractor out because that metal in that extractor is super hard and brittle. I mean, it's just it's kind of like the difference between cast iron and, you know, regular steel. So anyway, I pulled this freeze plug where I can see my little nut or my stud inside there, and I've tried heating it and beating it, and I can't drill it. I ain't got no kind of drill bit hard enough to drill through that thing. So I'm gonna keep at it. Not today though. I've been beating on this thing for, I don't know, probably more than an hour, and you know, I've been digging at it, getting a little ways with it, not real far. I don't know. I'll get there when I get there, but that's the next order of business. That's got to get fixed. So anyway, it is what it is. It's just one of those things. I mean, absolute worst case scenario, I take that head off of there, and I take this head off of this 318 and put it in its place. So, I mean, all is not lost. We'll put it that way. So, that being said, I'm going to call it a day. I'm hot and tired and frustrated, and I just don't want to do no more. So, thank you all, though, anyway, for following me today with my silly antics, and hopefully I'll get this dude out of here before too awful long tomorrow. And do me a favor, if you ain't subscribed, go ahead and do that. Give me that thumbs up, thumbs down if you think I'm dumb or whatever, and hit that notification bell so you know when the next video comes out, which is tomorrow. And till next time, you keep watching, and I'll keep, I don't know, beating on busted bolts or something.